Hello everybody, so we are starting a new series here. I am going to go from beginning to end with the DP32 in front of me. This will all work for the DP24 as well. I'm just doing this on the DP32 because that's what I own. So we're going to start with a fresh SD card. As you can see, let's see, 32 gigs. That is the maximum you can have on an SD card. This is a freshly formatted on the computer SD card, the way you would get it from a store. So I get asked every so often, well, what do you recommend for SD cards? Tascam actually on their site has a PDF. If you go to your device, like your 24, your 32, whatever, and they have a list of recommended SD cards. Now, what I do is when I look, now remember, 32 gigs, it's the maximum you can do. I know there's a video out there that says that the guy formatted a 64 gig SD card. He did not, because he never finished the video. He just kind of ended it and said, okay, well, that's how you do it. And I've done it before, and it will just keep spinning. It will never stop. So you can't do a 64. This is the biggest you can do. Now, my recommendations for SD cards, pick one that you know the name of. That is the best option I can tell you. So, you know, something that you trust. Like I trust SanDisk. So this is a SanDisk. I know it's hard to read. It's not really coming in very well here, but that's fine. And this is what I'm using. Like I said, when you get these, they're generally already cleared and they're ready to go for you out of the box. So that's what I'm doing. And now we're going to put this into the back of the SD, or the SD. I'm going to put this in the back of the console here. So I put it into the console, into the SD card slot. And we're going to now talk about, we're going to start her up, and we're going to talk about what happens. That's what sorry, I'm just flustered a second. Okay, so let's turn her on. So let's see what it does. So it's starting up. As you can see here, we're good. There's a little bit of reflection, tells you what version I have, and it says to format the card. So we go back. So you can see I'm hitting the back button there, and it says no card. So let's go into menu, and we will check format. So we'll use the cursor keys here to go to format. Select yes. So F4 to play. I'm just going to do a quick format because, like I said, the card has already been formatted. I'm not going to do a full because there's no point. So let's do a full format. You want to erase? Yes. So away it goes, and there, it's completed. Now, what did it do? Well, let's go out of the menu. It has literally created a song. As you can see on the title there, it says song 0001. If you go into the song list, if I go to menu, song, and let's just select that. So select, it shows you the song. If I hit, which button is it? Info, which is F3. So right now it's an 11 megabyte song. It is a sample rate of 44.1 kilohertz. So yeah, if you hit info, you can look at whatever you want here. 16-bit. So it is the lowest setting that you can have for a song. Not a big deal. What we're gonna do with this is we'll talk about in a second, and it tells you when it was done. So this was done on June 28th. And so there you go. That is our settings for this. So we've now got a song in here. Now, generally what most people do with this song, since it's fresh, and a lot of people want to record in the highest rate that you can, the highest sample rate that you can, they more or less use this as a template. You can rename the song. So let's see, let's just go into menu, go under song again. Oh yeah, let's select, I think it's play here, and then we'll go and we will rename the song. I can't see, name edit, there it is. Let's select that, and I'm going to call this underscore template. So it's the very first song that shows up. So underscore, find a T. Where's T? LMNOP QRS T, and then we'll do lowercase. It's kind of nice doing it like this. Tem, oops. Move over one. Now, why would you want a template song? Well, you want a template song so that you would load this song before you would create a new song. And what it does is anything that you've set in this song, it will then take it and then bring it to your next project. So when you start a new song, so you load this one up first, and then it will then do it for you. Like, it'll have everything set up for you. I'm trying to remember my alphabet here. A is pretty easy to find. It's right after all these. There's A. P, Q, R, S, T, E, which is close to the beginning as well. All right, am I sure? And then I say yes, so that's an F2. All right, we have now changed the name of the song to template. So let's go home again. So we're home, and so now it's set up the way we want. So as you can see, it has already done assignments. So there on the thing, so tracks, as you can see, 1 to 8 are now assigned. A, B, C, D, right? A to H, they're assigned all those tracks. Why does it do that? That's just the default. That's what, if you notice the default button at the bottom left of the corner on F, which would be F1, that is what that's for. You also have your stereo channels here, and as you can see, as I'm doing that, if you look on the right corner of your screen, you will see the icon, my screen. I'll actually show. Let's just do this for a second. We'll switch views for a second here. So you can see it's lit up. So as I'm moving, you can see it will follow. So you can just, if you want to, you can simply select which one you want. So to set it. Now, how do you set it? That's easy. So you have it there. So let's say I want to set G and H up on track 32. 31, 32, I click on G, and then I click on H, and then it will set it up that way. Now, as you can see, if I just do have it on G, let's go a closer look here, you'll see it's GG. It's more or less saying that source G is now assigned to track 32. So that means that it's using both input, or it's using that single input to record on both tracks. Now, the other thing you can do, I've done crazy stuff with this before. We're just going to take it easy on that. What you can do is, let's say you want to, you have track A and you want to, I'm just going to, all right, cleared it out. So if you click it after it's done, it cleared it out. So let's say I want to use 1 and 2, and I want to have track 1 set up as, I'm going to clear the thing on here. So let's hit the clear button. So I've cleared the assignments off. Let's say I want to have track 1 set up. Let's say I'm recording guitar and I'm going to just input it, but I want one to be the direct input of the guitar, and the other one is going to be going through the internal guitar effects or such and such. So how do I do that? Well, easiest way to do that is to go source. So now you can see track 1 is now track A. Track 2 is now track A. Now, you can go crazy and you can actually make every track A if you want, or input A if you want. That's your choice. Now, you can only record 8 of them at a time. And when I say that, what that means is, so I can show this to you. So let's just do that for fun. So we'll just go, and I'll just go 3 to A. 4A, 5A, 6A, 7A, 8A, 9, 10A, 11, 12A, 13, 14A. Yes, I know this is crazy. I don't know why the colors aren't coming in that well. I'm going to have to play with the camera on the next video. So now I've only gone up to 15, 16. And why did I do that? Well, I'm going to show you how record works now. So if I go home here, and you can see it shows at the bottom of the screen on the tracks, it says each of them has A, so they're all covered. Now, if I go on to here, so I'm going to show you what happens. So let's say I want to record, because now I can record at one time 8 tracks at the same time. It's not 8 inputs, it's 8 tracks. Now, yes, you can have alternate inputs set up on here, which is generally what you're supposed to do. but because I'm a crazy person, this is what we're going to do. So you can record 8 tracks at the same time, which means that if I take this one here, so I've now turned on track 9, and if you look in the little thing below, which kind of moved a bit, I'm gonna have to play with that a little bit too. So if you look on, let's go over that. So if you look, it has on 9:10. It is now turned on for record. So if I turn it off, there you go. So that's record now. And you can also see that the time has shifted down because from 100 minutes and 26 seconds. I don't know. I can't remember how that works, but it's gone down to 6. It's probably 6 hours and 45 minutes is what it's saying. That if I'm recording on this track, if I record the entire thing, there's no clear explanation as to what that means. We're still working on that. That's another one of these issues. That's another one of these things that we're discussing. But okay, so let's go back to what I was talking about. So as you can see, I pushed record on 9:10. So now I'm taking up 2 of my 8 channels, which means that if I go and let's go from 1, I'm going to try to turn on everything from 1 to 8, which are all mono channels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should stop at 6, and if I try to hit 7 or 8, nothing. Now, why is that? Because I have now mathematically covered 8 tracks. Now you're thinking, no, you've only covered 7 tracks. And no, because this track 9 is considered a stereo track, so therefore it's 1 and 2. So this covers 2. Now, same thing. So now if I turn off, let's turn off 5 and 6, and I turn on 11, 12, I can't do any others. And just to show that, so let's turn off 9, 10. I'm just going to turn on track 5. So we've got an odd number here. We have 7. Yeah, we have 7. So now if I try to hit 9 and 10, it won't let me because 9 and 10 it expects to have two recorded tracks. It can't do it. So what does that mean? Well, that means that you can have 8 mono inputs or 8 mono tracks recorded, and then you can have, you could have 4. There we go. 4 stereo tracks recorded, or you can have 4, and so what happens is, what that means is as you remove ones off the list here, so as you can see, as I'm removing it, I am able to add those tracks to the mono side. That's what that means. It's not 8 inputs, it's 8 tracks. That's what I'm getting at with this. So I hopefully I explained that quite well there. So that's number 1. Now a special function of the 32SD and the 32 is that you have the ability in the assignment tracks here to convert these channels, any stereo channel, to a mono channel or back to a stereo channel. Now, if you do that and you have something recorded there, it'll go away. So you don't want to do it while you're recording. You want to do it, or once you've recorded something, you want to do it prior to that, or you export those files, you export those tracks, and then you put it back on. So that's just another thing. Now, it does tell you when you do it. So like if I, on 31, 32, let's just click on the stereo mono button, F3. And as you can see, it says, do you want to do it? Yes. Whoops, I just kicked the box here. So I hit F4, and then it says, so if I change track type, erase selected tracks, that means that you're wiping them out. And if I say yes, so I'm going to say yes because it's fine with me. There's nothing on this card. And I'm completed, and I go back. As you can see, it now shows up. 3132 is showing up as a mono track. And if I go back to home here, it will also show up. You can see that it shows as 31 as a mono track. So this track is now mono. That's what that means. So now we've cleared that. Now that we've talked about that, so let's recap on what I did on this part here, which is, so when you put a new card in, it'll expect you to format it. What formatting does is it creates a template, or not a template, but it creates a song file for you, which you can then convert into a template. So what does that mean? Well, in this case, I can show you this right now. So as you can see, I have, let's just do some settings here. So let's go into, well, I have 31 as mono. That's a good enough setting. So if I go and I create a new song, so let's go back to menu, go to song. Let's see. So let's select that song, and then we're going to say create. So I'm just going to keep the name as song 001, but we can then switch it to 24-bit 48 if we want. Can leave it as it is. Doesn't really matter. That's a personal call of your own. Say yes. You can see it's working. It's going to make that song for me. Okay, so now you can see there's song 001 there. So if I go home, as you can see, track 31 is still mono. So what does it do? Well, it takes all your settings, including everything in the mixer. So all these settings in the mix, all the settings for each of the tracks in the mixer, all the settings in your inputs here, and it will then use them, and it will copy those attributes over to your new file. So that's why people make a template, because that way they have it. Like, let's say you have your, like, I generally have G and H set up as stereo, because when I go into final recordings, I generally have G and H as my inputs for my external effects loop. So I have it coming in this way, so then it's automatically panned. So when I go into assignment and I go over to the stereo bus and I select G and H there. So when I select G and H there, it is then, in that case, once you're in the stereo bus, then you are actually using the mixer. So you're actually using this little board here. If you're not using it as that, if you have it assigned to a track, then then your inputs just act as straight inputs. They don't do anything fancy in that case. But that's another story. We'll talk about that later. That's when we get further into the system. We're just talking about the basics here. Next, let's look at our menu for a second here. So you have your song things, which is, you're able to look at your directory. If you go into the song list direct thing, you have load, create, save, erase, update, delete unused, protect, and name edit. So which is rename, that most of us call it. So you have that ability, and you can also check things, and I'm not sure what the checking is for, but we're going to try it anyways. It's probably so you can do something like, so yeah, you can do like a huge amount of stuff. Probably do like a delete unused or something, so I'm going to say yes to that, even though we don't have anything in there yet. We'll talk more about what delete unused does. So as you can see now, it's going through all these, and so I've checked them, so it actually uses it as a select all. Kind of neat. So if you want to do a lot of work on a lot of things, like rename a lot of songs, there you go. That's how you do it. So, all right. So that's first. Let's go back to the menu. Audio Depot. This is where your exports and imports happen. So if you go into Audio Depot, currently it says file not found. At the bottom, the buttons are back and export. I'm going to see, let's just go into preferences for a second. Let's see if I can make this look a little better. Actually, let me try this for a sec. I'm going to stop the video here. I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to try to fix the screen. Okay, I fiddled with the image a bit. So as you can see, you have, whoops, as I tap things here, you have export and you have back arrow. So back arrow takes you back out. Now, if you have files in there, it'll have an import as well. Now, some things to remember about this. Well, we'll talk about that later. So we're just going to go through the list here. So there's Audio Depot. Now we go to information. This will tell you things such as the song information and how many songs you have, how much you have left on your card, and your version. That's very important. please make sure that you are up to date on your system version. How do you update your firmware? There is a PDF on the Tascam website that will give you that information, and then you can check against that to see what version they have, what's their newest version, and make sure yours is that. I know there are a lot of people out there who say, I don't like to update my firmware because I've had problems in the past. I understand that. I've had problems in the past too, but honestly, updating your firmware is the best thing you can do in this case, because there are changes that have fixed things that you may or may not run into in the near future. So let's just be smart about it, and let's update our firmware. So let's go back to the menu for a second. So tuner, I don't have anything hooked up at the moment, but there's your tuner. I'm sorry if the colors are not great. I'm trying my best to make things show up better on the screen here. So that's why it's that way. So same USB, that connects you to the computer. And so right now it's not connected. So the USB more or less just gives you access to your SD card so that you can copy and paste in an easier way than just popping your SD card out, plugging it in, and then plugging it into a card reader or something, and then copying from your computer. I have both. Well, technically any machine that I have that has a USB on it, I have the cables ready to go at all times so that I can do that. Formatting, we did formatting, and preferences. Preferences, I think I might have to go through and do a whole thing on this. So you have an auto power save, so you can say how long do you want the machine to stay on before it turns itself off. Contrast, now contrast just changes the contrast here, and I had it set to 3 because I found that was the best so that I could see it. Brightness, same thing. So that just changes the, let's see, I'm going to put it back, I think I had it at 15. I'm going to go a little lower, go at 13, and darken it up a bit. Backlight, that is the backlight behind it, so that is just there. Now your foot switch, that is your the 3-prong foot switch. I'm going to do a video on that again because new information has come out, and so I feel it needs to be discussed. So yes, but you can change your foot switch settings. So you got play, stop, record, and rewind at the moment. I generally, how do I have this? I think I have this set. I think this is how I generally have mine set up. Yes, this is generally how I have mine set up. So I don't, there's a whole bunch of other ones. You can do cue locate, play, stop, punch in and out. I don't use punch in and out on the foot switch. I generally use auto punch, rewind, fast forward, so you can have it go ahead, stop, play. So you can have just a play, and you can play it just a stop and a record. Well, we already know about record. So now I generally have it set to rewind. Now, why do I have it on rewind? Because generally when I'm doing drums and I'm recording onto the DP32 or something where I'm far away, I have it set up for auto punch, which we'll discuss later as well. And I don't generally use the foot switch for that. So I generally just, I generally let the auto punch handle the punching in and out. That way I know it's always the same spot. And then I more or less just say, okay, record, hit the middle button for record, and then go through. But that's another story. So undo history, you can set this as high or low as you want. I suggest keeping it as high as you can. I had it at level 1 before. So if you made a mistake and then you want to go back a few more, you can. Your jump back, that is when you do a rewind or forward. That's how many seconds in the song. I had mine set to 6. Auto monitor is off. I don't use auto monitor, which is probably why it's off. I'll look into what auto monitor is. We'll go deeper into this. Peak hold, so you can say yes, turn on. So you can say, show me how long it's been. So when you're recording, you can see how long it peaks at it. I think I'm going to put that on to 1 second because I like to watch that. I never really thought about that. Preview time. That is, we're going to discuss that. That is in the locate section of the keyboard. So over here, you'll see preview. Got in, out, and this is you're more or less previewing the in. So if you hold down jump back and in, it will then show you how much time you have to preview something. So I'm gonna play with this a bit. Still working on things here, people. I'm glad you're watching. Word. If you wanted to create words for you, you can do this. So like here, if you push F4, you can write wherever you want. So right now it has song on it. You can say, I want something else. I want to say this. So I'm going to say no for a second, and then you can change it to also do date or word. So you can choose which one you want. Do you want it to show a date when you pull up a song, or do you want it to put the date in instead? And then date time, that's just to modify the time. Right now, my machine, let's just push it over, is an hour behind. It is the 28th, but let's just move her over here. It is currently 9:17. So time-wise, it moved ahead. So I'm going to say yes, this is now the time. Yes. Whoops, wrong button. Yes, there we go. Whoops, I've now set the date. So initialize. I think that will reset everything. Yeah, so I'm not restoring to factory resets or restore. You can do that if you want. Otherwise, I have to redo everything I've done here. So that is our look at starting a new chapter in your life, which is a new song, creating a template we created. Like I said, make sure that you go and you do a firmware update. Make sure you are up to date. And why is that? Like I said, because they do fix things. And at some point, you may not run into it now, but at some point you may end up having problems like I've had, where then after I've done a firmware update, they have fixed. Now, it's been a long time. I think last update was 2020 or 2021. But either way, do that. So I hope you enjoy this video. And like I said, we're going to continue on with this series. We're going to do a whole bunch of these. So, and I'm going to work out the camera problems as I go. But either way, it is working as expected. So it's doing a decent job. So I will talk to you all later. And thanks for watching. Bye.
Can I live in a tree? Can I go to sleep right now? Can I get anything for free? Bag of tea, climb a tree. Don't you know? Sucks to be me.